Hey everyone, Cotton Candy TA here, and here's a tutorial on how to use Tradingview. All right, so a lot of people have been asking, um, how does your chart look the way it does, and how do I use Tradingview, and a few different things on how to navigate some of the ways in which taking your chart from looking like the default setting seen here to something like this. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a bit of time here and walk through Tradingview with everybody. All right, so to start, you are going to want to click on this gear icon in the top right corner called Chart Properties. Chart Properties will bring up kind of your main catalyst of options here. Right at the bottom, you have something called dark and light. Light is what you see here. Dark is when you're changing the background to a more friendly, darker version. I would highly recommend dark, as it's just easier on the eyes to work with. And it just shows things a little better in my opinion. If you like the light, use the light. If you like the dark, use the dark. All right, so from there you have your candle colors. So you can change this to whatever color you want. Light green, red. You probably won't want to use red, and two different shades of red, or whatever. For me, I like very neutral monotone colors. I like things like beige and blue. I don't find myself a fan of red and green. I find them too psychologically impactful. That's why you see my charts, I use beige and blue. Red and green, psychologically, it's embedded into us as red is a passive color for our mind, and green is a passive color for our mind, and red is a very active color. So it's just like a stoplight. You see red, it's a very alarming color. Something flashes red, it's kind of that psychological trigger, that active color, that sharp signal that gets sent to your brain to stop, right? It's the same thing with charts. And the same thing with green, right? Using green and red on charts, every time a candle turns green, I don't want to feel an emotion of ease. Every time a little tiny tick on the chart switches to the red side for 3 seconds, I don't want to be on alarm. I don't want to be like, whoa, we're in the red, uh-oh. It's just not psychologically conducive for myself. You use whatever colors you want, but that's the reason I use kind of a beige color for my candle chart colors up. So you can go in here, and that's another thing. When you double click this or single click it, you can hit this custom color icon button and pretty much get whatever color you want. So let's just go with a nice beige for that, and let's go with a nice light blue, not dark blue, for that one. And I can put the borders off here, and I'll keep the wicks on, and the wicks I'm going to want to make the same color, so I can just go down here to the quick colors that were used in the past, right? And I can go here to I think it was this color anyways, and now I have a nice neutral toned, well, it's not really neutral, but it's just a very easy toned chart. So I definitely want to keep the wicks on. I want to keep the borders off, and now you can see that we have a nice borderless candle. Yeah, that's it. Show line. Show line is going to be the current price or something is, right? So if you actually take a look here, whoops, we actually take a look on the screen here. Show line. It shows a line, a strike line through the price where it is right now, and it will tell you the price on the right hand side. So whether you want show line on or off, that's up to you. Show label on the price is exactly what it says on the right here, where you see the countdown clock. Show label will tell you the active price, which I also do like, but again, it's up to you. Scales, what do we have here? Auto fit data to screen. These are things you can go ahead and play with. Logarithmic charts or not, I prefer to keep that off. Things like invert scale up and down, just funny things that I wouldn't touch. You can have right or left price scale. So if you turn on left price scale, you'll notice the price is on the left. I find price on the right easier on the eyes, just because naturally people's eyes tend to go to the right. If you find your eyes going to the left, or for another reason, maybe you have some kind of monitor setup where you want the left side of your screen because that's where your eyes veer the most, then feel free, use left or right, up to you completely. It's all personal preference. Countdown to bar close. So that's on the right hand side here, right under your price indicator. So this is an option I really actually like on Tradingview. It's a countdown to bar close. So right now I'm on a 4-hour chart, and I can see that in 17 minutes and 6 seconds that 4-hour chart is closing. If I switch it over to the 12-hour chart, I can see in 8 hours and 17 minutes that 12-hour chart is closing. So that's a very useful countdown to bar close, is very useful. Indicate last value. Not something I use. Symbol name is going to show you the ticker here. I find you don't really need that as it's in the top left corner anyways. You can see Ripple, dollar, 12 hour on Bitfinex, and you can see the name of the coin actually up in the top right corner anyway. So I find less is more on my charts. I don't like to clutter them up. Take that name off. Indicator label name, that shows you, if you're using an indicator, like volume is default on TradingView, and it says volume down here. Just more junk on the screen. I like clean real estate, no overlapping lines. Another feature, I'm not sure what exactly it does, but play with it, see what it does. Background. Here's some interesting stuff. Background, you can set, right? This is that whole dark or light color tone that you go through at the bottom here. You want a light theme or a dark theme, right? I find too dark is too dark. I like a nice dark gray myself, something a little darker than that actually. I like something, let's just go back to the default here. They use a blue. Yeah, you know what? This is nice. I like this. You can play with those colors if you want. Whatever background you end up choosing, again, it's all personal preference. Vertical grid lines. This is something I like to change. So vertical grid lines are the vertical, and same with the horizontal grid lines, are these grid lines that you see in the background. For me, I like these to be very subtle. I don't like seeing heavy grid lines. I do like seeing them, but I find the boldness of the strike on the screen is a little too much. So for me, I turn these down very subtly, just enough so I can see it. Something in the range of that looks like somewhere between 25 and 30%, maybe something like that. Scale lines. Scale lines is the right-hand text font. I would highly recommend leaving that on default. Watermark, if you want a watermark on your, like a copyright watermark. Oh, well, look at that. Our candles changed. We'll quickly change these back. I'm not sure why that happened, but anyways, this is a quick change. I can just double click the light color, double click the, oh, that's a little too dark. I'm not sure why that happened. And turn off the borders, and we've got it back to normal. So I'm not quite sure why that happened, but it did anyways. Continuing on here, time zone, you can select your own time zone so that in the bottom panel of your screen down here, you can see what time it is currently for you, right? Extended hours intraday, you guys can Google that. That's something that's not used on crypto markets, but it is used in Forex markets. Crypto markets are, and I believe this is a pro feature, so a paid feature anyways. I don't find it very relevant in crypto because crypto is a 24/7 market, but if you're using Forex or something else, you should Google extended hours if it's a feature that you need in the pro version. Trading, right? So you've got all of these things. You can go through these things one by one on your own. Not something I need to walk people through every single option here. The idea of this video is to start to show you guys how to use TradingView, and these are things that you can adjust data for dividends, right? Not going to be relevant for crypto, but maybe more so for Forex or bonds, earnings break. Some of these options, right? Just go through them, and you'll be able to basically get all the information and answers you need from Google. So let's hit OK there. All right, so that takes us through our majority settings there, kind of our chart here, okay? Let's double click this indicator, right? So this is the default indicator. This is volume, which is default on all charts. So we got a volume indicator here, right? So if you actually are to double click on this, you can do the same thing. So all I did is double click on one of these lines, and you can do the same thing. And for the same reason, I'm changing this to those same colors, right? I like the passiveness of those colors. You have different options here where you can go, a histogram or an area or just simple lines, whatever you like. It's up to you. There's a plethora of options here, right? You just go through them and use whatever you want. So we're just going to leave it on area. You use whatever you like, or lines with breaks, well, whatever your fancy is. Okay, so now with this, just change that back to reset settings. Let's use our quick and easy simple colors. Volume MA shows a moving average of the volume. Not something I use, but hey, go nuts if you want. Now in this panel, you'll notice I cannot move my volume bar. So what I can do is I can right click it, okay, and I can go to move to new panel above or below. If I click above, the panel is going to be set up here. If I click below, the panel can be set here. So if I click new panel below or above, I can now scale this indicator. I can still get to those same options. If I click this format button over here, that little gear icon, I can turn it off and on as I please. And if I want it to be, you know, some monster size indicator, I can, or if I just want it to be nice and subtle, which is my style, less is more, I can also do that. Right, so moving on, we have indicators here. So indicators are things you can add. So say if you wanted to add a moving average, you could go moving average, and you could just click on whichever one you find that you like. We're going to use moving average here, for example, and it will add it in the top left corner. So we'll add 2 for this example. You know, add 1, add 9. Personal preference, right? So we've added 2 moving indicators, and the show hide icon will turn it off and on, right? As you can see there's 2 on. The gear icon will bring up the options for it. So how to change it, right? So say we're going to do the color for this one is going to be yellow, and we're going to flick over to this button called input, and this is where you change the data parameters, the things that the options that you have within the indicator to change, maybe in this example, moving average, the days. So length 7 would be 7 days. It's set to default 9. And the source is going to be open, close, low, high, stuff like that. I would Google what that means or play with it. Same with offset. I wouldn't get too fancy with this. I would, you know, especially on a moving average, I would just simply use a moving average of 7, right? And I would go to this one and I would change the color to, well, let's go to, okay, let's go to this color, kind of like a purple. And we're going to go to 25 days, right? So this is Binance's 25/7 day moving average. And you can see now you have a 25 and 7 day moving average on all time frames. Right now we're on 12 hours. If we change it to 2 hours, you can go to 2 hours and so forth, right? So you have your style. You can increase the thickness of the lines, right? You have some different things here, you know, default, scale, not options I'd recommend changing. I would just leave these on default. And the inputs. Okay, so that's your moving averages. That's indicators. Indicator templates is something that you can Google to get into. Candles is, if you like a different style candle, you can go to hollow candles, or you can go to line candles, or you can go to point and figure candles, right? You can do whatever candle style you like. You know, for me, I just prefer simple plain old candles. So that's a good start on how to get this, on how to get the setting set up how you like it. Okay, so now some different things to go over, right? How much on your screen do you need? Sell and buy panel, right? Unless you're using an API and something connected to Tradingview, I would probably just hide this, get it off my screen. Your draw panels or your expanding panels are on your right hand side here, and you can customize these as you like. You know, you've got alerts. This is one that I use all the time, and I create alerts. So if I say I want Ripple, if I want it to be, I want an alert. Once the value crosses 40,000 sats, I want it to play a sound and show a pop-up to my to my SMS, and I want to create that. And I now have a alarm set for Ripple, so I'll get a text message. Of course, the text message is only if you have the Pro version. I believe it's only the Pro version. But yeah, anyways, you could get an email. You could just get an alert on your, like a little noise that plays or whatever. You can edit those properties. You can do whatever you like, or you can just delete it. So that's how you use the notifications panel. And there's some other windows here. You guys can go through them. Notifications, ideas, private chats, public chats, my ideas, calendar, hot list, things like that. So you guys can go through that, check it out. And then you have up here, you have your different time frames. So you have 15 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hour. Now, the reason why mine might look a little different is because these are the things that I use. So when I scroll down here, I have a list of different options. So you can see here 1 minute. If I wanted to add that to my favorites list, you can see 1 minute pops up right here on my screen. So now that's on my hotbar list. So I would just simply click or unclick that star to add that. And if I wanted to add something custom, I could go down to the bottom of this. Say I needed 45 minutes. I would add that, and 45 minutes is now there. And say I wanted 9 hours. Ooh, that's a different one. Say I wanted 9 hours. I could type in 9, go down to hours, and hit add. And then I wanted 9 hours to show up here in my quick menu, because for some reason I think 9 hours is really the the bee's knees. It's what I need, right? So now I have 45 minutes and I have 9 hours in there. So use those as your discretion as to what you like to use. Put them on, turn them off. I'm going to delete the two. Oh, I think 45 minutes was a default range. So that's how you get your, why is 9 hours still up there? I do not want 9 hours. Not quite sure why 9 hours didn't go away. Well, that's okay. I'll just reload my chart after and it'll be gone. So that's how you get different values up here for your for your different times. And then you can go and use this icon, compare. Say I wanted to compare Ripple to Bitcoin USD, right, on Coinbase. I can hit compare and it will bring up a comparative window. Not something I use often, but definitely a feature there if you want it. So this right here would be the Coinbase BTC USD value. So you can see it, how the values are intersecting with each other. And really the only reason I'm showing this is just to fill in the blank of what does that compare window do. So we don't, I'm just gonna delete this. We don't, and you have style options in here. You can make it whatever you want. Big thick line that has a cross for an indicator, and whatever fancy stuff you like. Again, all personal preference. And then the replay function up here. The alert is the same as the notifications. You can create an alert. It's a quicker way to get to it. And the replay function. The replay function is really neat. So if you hit the replay button, you can go and you can pick a time frame where you want to cut something off. So right now we're on the 9 hour scale. So we're going to cut that off at 9 hours, and we can walk through this move. So we have play, we have jump to, we have forward, and we have to real time. So every time we click this forward button, it will move forward 9 hour candles at a time, right? If we hit play, you can just see it'll play on its own, and there it goes, like magic, boom, 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 boom. It shows you whatever you want to do. So a great tool for analytical purposes. Yeah, and then you have this kind of bar down here with all these, it'll be somewhere else on your screen. I believe it'll be up here or something like that. And then you have this kind of quick bar to get to your tools. So the way the quick bars work is the same thing as the way these different charts work for 1 hour, for 4 hour, adding favorites and not. So you have these icons on the left-hand side of your screen, and you can expand them out. So I have cross set as one of my favorites. You could have dot, arrow, eraser. In this line here, what do I have? I have trend line set as one of my favorites, horizontal line, and ray lines. So you'll find your set of tools that you like as default, and you will use them. I actually don't use Pitchfork anymore. It's a useless tool. I turned it on for an example for somebody else, so we don't need that. I can actually take that one off, and drawing tools, brush, rectangle, also all sorts of fancy stuff you can put in there and have on your quick bar. You kind of your holy grail of tools, if you will. And the other important tool in here, right? And actually, there's a few important ones, right? Date and price range is one that I like. So date and price range is to say if you were here in the move and it moved all the way down here. Oh, look, I've got minus 17%. So it's a good quick math tool, like a calculator to see, or not a calculator, but I guess a range selector to see what the move did, how many bars it lost over what period of time, how many sats, and the percentage it lost. So it gives you some value breakdown statistics. And then this magnet tool. This magnet tool is a great, powerful one. There's also this measure tool, which is the, that's that date and range tool, the same thing. So just a different way to get to it, right? Now there's this magnet tool. Magnet allows you to snap to candle wicks, which is very useful. So if I were to put this here without the magnet tool, I would be kind of just dragging and guessing, and I might do this, and then upon further zoom in, well, look, it actually didn't really snap to the bottom of that. So when you turn the magnet tool on, it snaps, right? It'll snap to the most relevant line that is in proximity with your cursor. So I like the magnet tool. I use it all the time. Yeah, simple as that. Now another cool little trick somebody showed me is if you hold control and click on whatever you have, let's go to our cross tool, hold control and click on, oh, it's not working. I wonder why. Supposed to be able to hold control and click on something, and it will actually copy and paste that value. I'm not sure why it's not working, but yeah, it's not. So yeah, no worries. It's you guys try it on your own chart. Must have an option set turned off somewhere that I'm not allowed to do that, but typically you would hit control, you would click align, and it will copy it for you. I think that, load my chart, see if it works on mine. So if I'm to go here, click this, click control. Nope, it's not working for some reason. Well, that's okay. You guys will figure it out. You click and drag, you hold control and click, and it'll duplicate the tool. So anyways, I hope that helps people clear up how to use TradingView, and basically gives a quick rundown of how the tools work, and how to set it up and do some different things, and kind of just how to navigate a clean, nice interface. You know, different things that you would use. And going back to our chart here, you know, if you wanted to, again, if you want to turn the moving averages off, you can turn them off like that. You know, quick keys like delete on your keyboard will work. And yeah, you hit X on any one of these to delete the indicators if you don't want them. And that gives you guys a quick breakdown of how to use TradingView, and maybe not so quick because this video is a bit longer than it should have been, but that's okay. Anyways, that's how to use TradingView. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Take care. Bye.